Hello friends, it's old Pastor Bill coming to you again. I was thinking of another story I might want to tell you. You might get some knowledge or food for thought, something to think about. Let's tell this story. There's this old preacher one day. He was in his car driving down some old long country roads. It was on a hot July day. Sun just beating down, and he's going down an old dusty road. All of a sudden, his car commenced to cutting up and acting up and just knocked off. Steam started just coming out from under the hood, running hot. So he got out, didn't know what to do. He looked at his cell phone. Didn't have no signal or nothing, so the only thing he had to do, or could do, was just walk up that old dusty road and see if he could find an old house somewhere. So he commenced to walking up that road. The further he got, the sweatier and hotter he got. He got up to this old farmhouse. Had a big old well out in front. One of them wells, that you had to drop the bucket down in and draw the water out of. And he was so parched. He saw an old farmer's wife sitting up on the porch, just rocking away in a rocking chair. And he asked, "Ma'am, would it be all right if I get some of this cool water out of the well?" She looked at him. She said, "Well, help yourself there, fella." So he dropped that old bucket down in that well and rang up a bucket of water. He saw this gourd hanging up there on a nail. I know some of y'all city folks don't know what a gourd is, but it grows in the field and on the vine. You can cut it off, and it's got a long handle. If you find the right one, you can cut the top out of it and clean it all out, and it makes a nice little old dipper. So he got that dipper, and he commenced to getting him some water out of there, and he looked up there, and he seen that old farmer's wife just rocking, and he noticed in the corner of her mouth, on both sides of her mouth, there's old snuff running down the side of her, and she was just rocking, and then she'd take a spit over there, and all that old tobacco juice and snuff juice running all down her chin there. He got to looking at that gourd, knowing that she'd been drinking out of that old well with that gourd. And it sort of said, what am I going to do? I don't want to put my mouth on all that old gourd where she's been drinking out of. He happened to notice on the end of that handle, that gourd, it was cut out. Well, he got the idea, I'm going to turn this thing up the wrong way and drink out of the handle. So he started drinking out of the handle of that old gourd, and all of a sudden he heard this commotion going on, and he looked up there on the porch, and that old grandma was just laughing and so hard she about swallowed her snuff spit. And he looked at her and said, "Well, ma'am, what's so funny?" She said, "I've been drinking out of that well for nigh on 40 years. Using that old gourd." And she said, "I thought I was a little weird, but I guess I ain't as weird as I thought I was." She said, "I thought I was the only one that would turn that gourd up and drink out of the handle." Oh man, that preacher just almost got sick knowing he done drunk out of the same spout that she drunk out of for 40 years with all that snuff. So I guess what I'm trying to say, folks, is that a lot of times we and ourselves try to figure our own problems out or figure out a problem. We go all the way around things and end up at the handle of the gourd, so to speak, knowing that we've made mistakes and we've trying to figure things out on our own. The Bible says not to lean to our own understanding. So I think the moral of the story, or the point of the story, would be a lot of times we go around, like I said, to the handle of the gourd and try to solve our own problems and figure our own way out of messes and stuff when all we had to do was simple. Just trust God, ask Him what we need to do. Let Him lead, guide, and direct us, and not try to figure things out on our own so much. If we trust God more, we wouldn't be in a lot of messes and situations that we're in. Yeah, I think that's what we ought to do. We ought to just trust more on God, learn to ask Him, lean on Him, follow His directions, not our own. Well, I hope you might have got something out of this story. You might have got a little chuckle, I guess. Hope so, anyway. Well, that's me signing off of this here thing again. Hope the Lord takes a liking to you. And remember, the old preacher said, look up, kiss the sunny sides of life.